Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ethereum Chats. Today, we're chatting with Claystack, a multi-chain liquid staking protocol. We have Mohak Agarwal, founder of Claystack. Mohak, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me here.
Mohak, quick question before we get into the interview. Have you ever had a wallet drained?
Fortunately, no.
That's great. That's good. Same. I've yet to have that unfortunate experience. The reason I mention it is because today's episode is sponsored by Harpy, an on-chain security solution for Ethereum-based wallets. Harpy helps you detect and prevent malicious transactions before they execute, safeguarding your assets from theft in real time. You can secure your wallet today by visiting harpy.io/ETH daily. Mohawk, let's get into Claystack. It's a LST protocol. Can you give us an overview of what is Claystack?
Sure. Claystack is a multi-chain liquid staking protocol with primary focus on Ethereum. We started more than 2.5 years back. We did our fundraising in early 2021 from some of the investors like Coinbase Ventures, Coin Fund, Parafy, Spartan Group, Hypersphere, Animoca Brands, Hashed, and a lot of angels like founder of Compound, Aave, Synthetics, Gnosis, and a few more. Since then, we have been just like heads down building. We launched our first liquid staking last year, which was on Polygon. So we were the first ones to do Polygon Matic liquid staking on both Ethereum as well as Polygon because Matic staking happens on Ethereum. So we were able to do it in a trustless manner on Polygon as well. Then after that, we launched a couple of testnets like Graph, Phantom, Aptos, and the most recent one, which is the flagship architecture, is Ethereum liquid staking. We are the first ones to bring DVT based Ethereum liquid staking live on mainnet.
Initially started off on Polygon, and you also now have liquid staking on Ethereum with the csETH liquid staking token. When did that go live?
We did it during Token 2049. We did it from one of the side events around 9 weeks back.
And then did you always have plans to go beyond Polygon, or was Ethereum something that came up at a later time?
Yeah, for us, we were always multi-chain even from day one. And for Ethereum, I've been following for quite long time. I follow most of the EIPs that were important. The reason that I did not want to do the launch before was that I did not want to do it before the withdrawals were live and before that, before the merge was live, because I felt that any protocol who has done it, they have a lot of technical debt which can never be repaid. So once the withdrawals were live, then I felt that now the architecture and merge was also a very critical point. And I felt like then the architecture can be superior from day one because we are building this for years to come, not a short term play. So we had very strong plans, but just waiting for the right time. And now we did it.
And so you've been live for 9 weeks. How has that been
It
going?
has been good so far. We have got around $1.3 million in TVL, and in total around $4 million in TVL. Obviously, the first few weeks, the idea is to make the protocol more stable. We are already audited by Nethermind, and we'll be having our second audit as well soon. Till now, the growth has been good. We have got some great validators to validate for us. Obviously, it hasn't been too big, but again, TVL I feel is like a more like a vanity metric. For us, security is the most important thing that we focus on, and then DeFi integrations are about to come.
So there's been new LST protocols essentially every month now. What are some things that differentiate Claystack from other LSTs out there?
That's a great question. In order to understand that, we have to look at the chronology of liquid staking. So, when liquid staking started, or the first Ethereum liquid staking was launched, it was a very centralized architecture, but at the same time, very scalable. If you deposit a lot of ETH, they will find validators to stake to. Then the second iteration was something which was decentralized or permissionless, but at the same time non-scalable. You hit like scalability issues very fast because every validator had to put a 16 ETH worth of collateral, which eventually was reduced to 8 ETH as collateral, but still I feel like it's very high. Then DVT as a concept was being discussed heavily, and some people were promoting DVT as something that will solve everything, which is actually not the case. There are a lot of challenges with DVT technology as well. So far, theoretically, people talked about that with DVT, or protocols talked about that with DVT we can reduce the bond to 4 ETH, which is bond is the collateral that every validator has to put to, so that if there is any slashing, any double signing, unavailability, missed attestations, or whatever, then you can cover all those losses from that bond. But I feel, or we felt, that 4 ETH bond was also very high. So what we created was One, obviously, because of DVT, we have a very high fault tolerance. Every node is being operated by four operators. If one goes down, the other three can take over. If one, let's say, loses its key or something, which an incident that recently happened on Lido, so that's not a problem here. We can just replace that key by doing the DKG ceremony again. So very high fault tolerance, but at the same time, we have this unique concept called VFPs, which is validator funding providers. So think of them as capital underwriters or risk underwriters in the system who can underwrite the bond for high performing validators. So any validator who joins now can rake a lot of performance points. And once the VFP module goes live, they will be the first ones to get the bonds from VFPs.
So it seems like it's a lot lower of a barrier to entry. When I deposit ETH into Claystack, where does that ETH go to? Who operates the nodes and runs the validators?
Yeah. So what happens here is once you deposit your ETH, then like it stays in the smart contract. Then like we run this every, or it gets triggered every 24 hours. We can reduce this time even further. But the idea is that contract gets triggered, and then these ETH get staked to DBD clusters, which is a combination of, right now in the phase one, we have five validators, which is Kiln, Infstones, Hashquark, Staken, A41, and then we have a combination of clusters, multiple combination of clusters of these validators. In one cluster, there are four operators. And then the system automatically, we have this ANB system, which is algorithmic node balancing, which automatically decides where should we delegate the stake to, and then all that ETH goes to any of that cluster. One thing to add was, when I was explaining our architecture, the one challenge that, for example, every protocol faced, which is the same as blockchain trilemma, that you cannot make, or people were not able to make LSTs which were secure, scalable, and decentralized at the same time. Everyone had to make one trade off. So that's what we wanted to solve, that make a protocol which is actually secure, scalable, as well as decentralized, that we do not hit any scalability issues when we decentralize the validator set.
Part of the stake goes into DVT clusters, and can anyone join and run a DVT node as part of Claystack right now?
So right now we are offering anyone to come and run the node on testnet, so that they can rake performance points. And once the VFP module goes live, which we are scheduled like early next year, once that goes live, then these validators will be the first one to get delegations.
You use SSV network for the DVT.
Yeah, currently we have launched with SSV. We have been the alpha partner. We have been involved in various test nets so far. But Claystack is a modular DVT based architecture. We also have partnered with Obol as well. We have been running their nodes, their cluster as well from the day one of the test net. We have like modularity at every level. At MEV level, we have modularity. Once restaking, once we initiate that, we have like modularity at that level as well. We don't have to choose one, we can have multiple DVTs at the same time.
What are some of the hardware requirements to become a DVT node? And then did you also mention that you have to post a bond as well?
The hardware requirement is very similar to whatever the requirement for an Ethereum node. The only thing is you should have a very high availability, that like your internet should be pretty fast. I think like probably 100 Mbps. We haven't done that testing, that if you lower the internet speed, then how does it perform and all of that. But in terms of hardware requirement, it's same as running any Ethereum node. And then as long as the internet is good and the storage is good, like NVMe or something, you should not have any issues in terms of missing attestations or something. And in
Got it.
terms of bond, yeah, the protocol has a 4 ETH bond, but as I said, because of the VFP module, if you have enough performance points, then VFPs can underwrite all this bond.
And then it also reduces the likelihood of slashing since it is a DVT.
Yeah, because it's actually very hard to get slashed in a DVD cluster. Thing is, you maybe downtime that can occur if, let's say, half of the operators in the cluster are down, then you can miss some attestations, but we can act very fast to rebuild that cluster. But in terms of getting slashed, so it's very hard, because if anyone wants to do any malicious activity, all the four operators in the cluster have to do the same malicious activity. If they try to double sign, every operator in the cluster has to double sign, which is pretty hard to coordinate. Even if anyone wanted to, the chances of slashing is very low.
Going to liquid staking for folks that don't want to run any operators. You deposit ETH, you get csETH. Is there a commission fee?
Currently, we are not charging any fee. We just charge 5%, which all of that goes to the operators. That's it. But eventually, Claystack will have a fee. Yeah.
And then csETH itself, is it rebasing or
A value accruing token. I think like rebasing was a mistake by Lido. It creates so many challenges in DeFi integration. So they had to create a wrapped version. So for us, it's a value accruing token. And also, like
got it?
right now, because of after the launch, we have also launched this program called IGD, which is initial governance diversification, primarily a rewards program. Anyone who deposits right now, they earn clay points, which will be redeemable 1:1 in a future token.
Yeah, I saw that. So just to be clear, right now you can deposit to earn both the APY and Clay points, but Clay points, the Clay token is not out at this
Yes,
time, right?
it's not out yet.
And so with that, when that comes, is that a governance token?
We will announce like the token use cases. It's utility and governance token, yes, but like for the full details of the token, we'll have to wait for the official release.
And then you earn APY from CL and EL rewards. Do you also run MEV?
Yeah, so all of our operators run MEV relays. Right now, we are only running non-censoring MEV relays. We are not running any censoring MEV relays because we want to have the like as much decentralization as possible in the system. Yeah, so there is definitely MEV
Awesome.
boost.
And then for DeFi integrations, I think you said you have one coming up. Are you allowed to share?
So for any LST protocol, the core integrations are one, a liquidity pool, second, an oracle, and third is the lending borrowing protocol. So once I feel like all three are done, then it's a good infrastructure to like then build upon and do a lot more things. So the first one will be done.
That would probably be a
Yes,
liquidity
yeah,
pool
it would
of
be a
some sort.
liquidity pool.
And so that allows people to swap back into ETH if they so need to. So what's the redemption process for cETH at the protocol level? Are you allowed to redeem
Yes.
right now?
Right now, the redemptions are not available, but we are enabling all the redemptions by 31st of November. Yeah, by the time this is out, redemptions will be live. And the redemption process is very simple. You come, you burn your csETH, and then you have a claim. So then, depending upon the queue at that time, right now, I think the queue is pretty empty for withdrawals, but depending upon the queue, will show you an expected time after which you can come back anytime and claim your ETH back.
And where does the liquidity come from? Is that mainly from new depositors or is it from
So there are
a
two
buffer?
types of redemption. One is just the regular withdrawal, where we will exit a node to honor the withdrawals, and the second is flash exit. For flash exit, yes, it comes from buffer. That instead of staking it completely, we like keep a small buffer, which can be used for redemptions. And then for flash exit, we charge a fee, which again goes back to other CSETH holders. So that's why we don't lose out on any yield which is kept as buffer.
And for the regular redemption, is there a fee for
No, there's
that?
no fee for regular redemption. It's completely zero fee.
Cool. Pretty much covered all the questions I had. I know you were at in Istanbul during Def Connect last month. Was there any alpha you'd like to share from Staking Summit or any future plans?
One thing that I really enjoyed the discussions there, amongst many other great discussions, were about like institutional staking. I was also part of the panel of institutional staking only with other liquid staking protocols. And one thing that I saw was that a lot of institutions, what they care about is they want to know the counterparty. So the system has to be KYC'd, or every entity in the system needs to be KYC'd. But at the same time, they're looking for censorship resistance. And we also building ICS ETH, which is institutional Claystack staked ETH, and probably that's the only way by which any institution can come in completely KYC without worrying about censorship resistance. Because in any other institutional liquid staking, if that operator gets any OFAC sanctions or anything, then it's they are in trouble. Whereas here, that cannot happen. So that was interesting actually. We got a chance to speak to a few institutions who were interested. Yeah, we are designing that product and gonna announce soon.
Awesome. And then where are those institutions based that are like what part of
I think it's like everywhere, but again, it's a bit early stage for that. First is like designing that product right, and then aggressively focusing on business development.
Another thing I didn't bring up is restaking is a really hot topic right now. Are there any plans to implement restaking?
In our technical paper, we do have provision for restaking. So the only thing is we are still assessing that if we can find, or one thing we are yet to see is that would be actually like generating yield. Like, will they find like customers who are willing to pay that much fee to give like real yield to users? As soon as we see that, we will integrate restaking. It's already in the architecture. So for us, like it's a kind like much easier integration than most other LSC protocols.
For anyone interested in checking out Claystack, you can go to claystack.com. They have a liquid staking on Polygon and Ethereum. And if you're interested in running a DVT node on testnet, you can also do that. Mohawk, thanks so much for
Thanks
coming
for
on.
having me. It was great to speak with you.